Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Scott.
I'm Chris.
I'm Marissa.
And I'm Diaz.
And we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. This episode is brought to you by Stringjoy. Stringjoy offers custom sets of strings with balanced tension available. If you have any type of want, need, desire for a change in your string setup, reach out to them over at stringjoy.com. They'll just set you up with exactly what you want. That actually leads us right into my first what's new. I just got a set of Stringjoy strings in. I tried out their 10.5 sets on my Jazzmaster. I was looking for a little more tension than what a normal 10 provided, and it hit the spot. I'm loving these strings so far.
Yeah, I actually just put on some 11s on my SG, so they have a great feel to them. So I've played a few different brands. I used to be a big Diodario fan, and these just they feel really comfortable when you're playing them, and right out they've got a nice kind of poppiness to them. Like they got a nice spank, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I am having to adjust a little bit. I've been playing a coated string for, I don't know, 15 years at this point.
Yeah, and they're non-coated, so...
Yeah, these are not coated, so I have to lift my hands again.
Yeah, I've always been... You know, it's really weird, because a lot of people hate that sound. Like, if you're recording, I get it, but honestly, I don't know. I guess I've been playing with non-coated strings for long enough where... it doesn't bother me that much. I guess I've either learned how to adapt to it, or
But you and me also play that kind of music where it doesn't matter.
Oh, it took me 20 minutes. It's like when I hop to a Gibson neck.
Don't lie, Scott. It took you 25.
Okay, fine.
Put your head down. So
I did put my head down.
That's awesome.
We need to make this a video podcast.
No, it's one of those things. It takes a few minutes to adjust. You'll dial back in. I noticed it. I also put a set on my acoustic, and I was like, ooh, why have I been using these coated strings this entire time? I'm very happy with how my Taylor is sounding with those acoustic strings on it. So, yeah, recommend them for everybody. We wanted to get them in hand and try them out and have experience with these before we really took Stringjoy on as a sponsor, and we legitimately use them.
I've been using them for a while.
Yeah.
So that's the plus.
Yeah, Chris has had a relationship with Scott over at Stringjoy. Who's one of your favorite, Scott?
I actually did.
I dropped to number 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually did what our Scott was talking about of emailing them and getting them to work me out a custom set, and they actually worked me out a 10.5 with a wound G, and I've been using those on everything for year and a half solid at least now. So
yeah, if you use a vintage Strat pickup with the staggered, you'll often notice that they have kind of a weird staggering pattern because the G strings used to be wound.
Mm-hmm.
So actually going back to a wound G can actually affect how things sound with vintage pickups, and might be worth looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played a wound G, but I need to try it out.
Did you not touch my Junior when we had it at the house?
Hey, can I just take a second to say that we've gone 30 seconds talking about G strings and no one's made the joke. I'm very proud of us. I feel like
oh my gosh,
really gotten to a point where we can have a serious discussion, guys.
adult conversation.
I was gonna say, where's the sign that we can change it back to 0 of time gone without a joke?
Time gone.
We got the money from Stringjoy already, right? Like they're invested in us at this point.
Yeah. So we're gonna just have to stick with it. No more G-string jokes, guys. Let's keep it serial. Guys.
So taking it back, we also have Stringjoys for our bass that we're waiting on.
Yeah,
So.
Apparently they've got some killer bass strings as well.
Have we tried the acoustic ones?
I just realized my son
acoustic?
plays
Yes.
bass. I need to get him some bass strings. Huh.
But yeah.
Yeah, the first actually set another one of the guitar players at my church uses Stringjoy for his acoustic, and I tried them out first there. I really like them. They do a phosphor bronze and they do a regular steel string. So I went with steel string because I don't really care for phosphor bronze. That's my preference. But yeah, they're great.
Awesome.
So I think that brings us into the other what's news around the table. Chris, anything new with you?
Other than finding stuff that I want, no. Wait, when does this episode drop? I'll give a hint. I may or may not actually have something. If I do have something, it'll be in the group. So, surprise, I guess?
Yeah, surprise, mother.
Are we going to get a live stream from Chris playing with it?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We'll have to, like
20 questions.
And we're specifically going to have to go to the Guitar Center if we get it and be like, hey...
What color is it?
TV yellow. So, that should already be a hint on what it is, so I'm not going to say
Does it
anymore.
have the senior before it came?
No.
Oh.
Because
it's not a
unlike
junior.
whoever... No, it is not. Despite what everybody says. Junior is a single pickup.
Oh my
Two
gosh,
pickups
now
is a
we're just gonna
special. Yeah. Now we're into that
Stop.
conversation.
Gosh. Oh,
Next.
Well,
Scott has his Jazz Masters. I have my Juniors. Diaz has
Marissa, what's
his.
new with you?
I may get a new pedal.
Oh god.
whoa. What you
Is
gonna
this
get?
the blurry photo you've been sharing with us?
No.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
No.
If you're going to post a pedal for sale online, at least have it. I mean, a little bit of blurriness is okay, but at least let us be able to read the name of the pedal when
Please.
the only graphic on the pedal is the name written in silver Sharpie.
Look. As the photographer,
Wow.
make it pretty.
Is that a 398 or 390?
You guys are lucky I'm not going to make my horrible joke. Oh my gosh. If you want to know what my horrible joke was, you can send me a message on Facebook, but please don't be upset when I make a horrible joke. It's not vulgar.
Yes, this is going to air in like a week and a half. You're going to have to write this down.
Someone's
Yeah.
going to be like, tell me the bad joke. I'm going to be like, oh,
Like, what are
you're
you
gonna have to
talking
narrow it
about?
down.
What was it?
Yeah. People do that. They message me all the time and they like make a hint at something I said. And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, people don't realize there's literally no filter and there's no internal memory. Like, I'm kind of like the old school, like, cameras where you had to like have it plugged into something like the digital cameras because it had no internal memory.
Well, Diaz, is there anything new gear-wise with you this week?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm trying to remember. So, well, I guess I could talk about the Mi Audio M7s. So I mentioned I got them at NAMM, I think when we did the recap episode, but I've actually been using them, and they're actually really good. So I'm using them right now to record the episode. I've got the Bluetooth adapter, and I don't have the molds with them yet, but they've got a really good sound. I've got 1964 V3s, and there's a difference in sound, but they've each have like a good sounding quality, like on each side of it. You know, the M7s have a really good low end. It's not really flubby or anything like that, so it's been pretty cool. I've been using them, and they've been great, especially for the price. For $150, they're a good option for in-ear monitors for musicians. The M6s are cheaper. Those are $50. Those are single drivers. These are dual. It's hybrid drivers. So there's the armature and the balanced. I think that's the two different ones. Scott,
I think sounds right.
Scott's not paying attention. Scott,
I'm
Scott
not
just
going to
bought a
correct you
pedal.
on this one.
You're not. You're not.
How do
gonna
you
what?
know? How do you know I just bought a pedal?
We
Scott
talked
just
about
bought-
it.
We just talked about it because you just had a freak out moment.
Yeah,
Scott.
yeah.
But he can say that for his what's new when he actually gets it. But Scott's not going to talk to me about these, I guess. Scott had the M6s, and I don't think he was super pleased with them, but he's also a tone snob, so.
I had the
Well-
M6s too.
my problem with the M6s is back in the day, the old version before the M6 Pros came out, they only offered them with one size ear tip, and that size didn't fit me well.
Scott's got
And so-
big ears.
I do.
So,
He does.
I mean,
Jeez.
Scott's a big guy. Like I'm a big guy too. I'm 6'2" or 6'3", depending on which grocery store I'm leaving. But
Was it really that hard for them to put that sticker up?
you know what? I bet you they like try really hard and then they just give up. And they're like, yeah, that's close enough.
Wait, is
Sure.
this is a grocery store thing by you guys?
No, so like a lot of grocery stores and convenience stores have like they have the marking of height next to the door that next to the exit. So
That has
if
a
someone was to
camera on
rob
it.
the place when they run out, they can figure out what their height is.
Yep.
Oh.
Welcome to the South.
They've got.
Well,
to have that up
I've always seen them in
Chicago.
restaurants, like fast food, like McDonald's will have those around here, but but like
That-
I've never seen that at a grocery store around here, so that's interesting.
Well, maybe more people rob grocery stores in the South.
North
See, we
North,
don't
they do
have those-
McDonald's.
We don't have those at McDonald's around here.
Are they at Burger
Maybe.
King?
No, I've never. I haven't seen one at any of our Burger Kings. So if anyone doesn't know, I'm a training manager for Burger King. So I've worked at a few of them in East Tennessee, and I've never. We don't have them. That's weird. All right, well,
Interesting.
welcome to the South versus the North Part 2. Trying to figure things out. But so I guess no one's got anything else new.
No.
But so
Well,
we'll-
between episodes, I made a purchase.
yeah.
So that's the real exciting thing. Of I lowballed a guy at a price he should not have accepted, but he did. So
Oh, hopefully
there's a
he doesn't
good
listen to
chance
the
it's gonna
podcast
get
and
canceled.
refund you.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling this is going to be another one of those reverb things where like they don't ship it for 2 weeks and then I get refunded.
Oh.
Yeah, you have horrible luck. I've never had that issue.
Yeah, it was all with the same product too. Like I had to buy the same thing from 3 different people
What was
before
it
I finally
again?
got one. It was just a microphone.
Oh yeah, it was work related, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of wheezy or weird. Oh, I don't know what wheezy is. I'm tired. It is 1:20 in the morning. Why are we doing this now?
Let's see if we can make this the fastest episode ever.
Well,
Yeah.
Diaz, let's dig right in then. And why don't you
Dig
talk
on
to us
in.
about this new chorus coming out from MXR?
All right, so MXR is coming out with an Eddie Van Halen 5150 chorus. So Eddie Van Halen, when you think of him, you mostly think distortion. You don't think of a whole lot of anything else, but a lot of his tracks have chorus on them. His wasn't always super heavy. Ain't Talking About Love, off of their debut album, the self-titled, had it pretty heavy on there. But you don't realize that you're hearing it. He was really tasteful with it. And MXR has been doing a lot with Eddie Van Halen. And one of the reasons that I believe is because the people who listened to Eddie Van Halen when they were like kids are now spending money. They're like hitting that age where they can spend money. So that's like the Eddie Van Halen line with Fender and his amps and everything. He's really been marketing himself lately. MXR's already put out a few things. They've got the 5150 Overdrive. They've got a flanger and a wah. I can't think of any other. The Phase 90. Eddie Van Halen Phase 90
Oh, yeah.
was one of his first pedals he put out. So
Yeah, they're doing more of that Frankenstein Strat aesthetic on all of these things.
yeah, the Eddie Van Halen stripes. So they've got, which is a really cool design. So they're doing that, and it's a good sounding pedal. I played one, and it's a well-rounded chorus. There's nothing crazy about it, and it doesn't suck. So it's pretty cool. The Eddie Van Halen line's really expanding, and even the 5150 Overdrive, I played at Guitar Center, and I almost bought it. So it's got a good sound. He's putting out a lot of things that have a really good sound to him, and he's always been known for having a really good ear. So I don't think he puts out a lot of stuff with his name on it that he wouldn't approve of. So
Yeah, there were a number of things. Was this an anniversary of anything? Because like there was the Eruption signature guitars at NAMM.
no, not that I know of.
Okay.
But I also am not like a Eddie Van Halen historian. I'm just a guy who likes it. So
because that was one of my favorite sights of NAMM, was how many guys in like full suits and ties would sit down with one of those things and start playing Eruption while I'm walking by.
yeah, but that like kind of goes towards what I was saying. Like these are the guys that are businessmen now who can afford the stuff, and that's like they came out with the Frankenstrats, the like replicas from Fender Custom Shop, and those things were thousands of dollars, and they sold out pretty fast. So they, MXR and Fender they know their target audience, and they're hitting it hard. So they're doing a good job, though.
That's pretty cool. Let's move on to the Balaguer Espada. This was announced at NAMM, but unfortunately they weren't there.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
We were searching high and low for them.
Yeah.
Which was also funny because we saw an endorsed artist walking around with one of their shirts, and I started chatting him up, and like Nathaniel Berniker is a big fan of this brand. Apparently they have a presence out by him.
But in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but this is a beautiful guitar hitting a really nice price point.
They have that really nice look at a decent price. Seems like all of their guitars are right around $1,100.
Yeah, my understanding is they are imports.
Are they kind of doing like Reverend?
Yeah, like they're I think they're set up in the U.S., but they're manufactured
outside.
Externally.
Yeah.
But this is like it's reminiscent of a few other brands, especially when you look at the headstock. It's. Go ahead.
Who does that headstock remind me of? Fano, that's it. And it's a Jazzmaster style body.
Offset.
Oh my god. I don't care, Scott. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Whoa.
Yeah, it's also, this is super modern in a lot of ways. It's a 16-inch fingerboard radius, which is really flat for a guitar.
So
stainless steel frets.
Explain it to me like I'm like 5. What's normal?
You play a Telecaster, which is usually about 7 1/4.
7 1/4?
Yep.
How are they measuring that?
That's the radius.
Explain it to me like I'm 3.
If you draw a circle, pick a point in the center, at the exact center, and then pick any point on the outside edge. Draw a straight line between those 2 points. That's the radius.
I don't see how this applies to a guitar neck, but
Follow along.
As the radius gets
Are you
bigger,
hearing, like, the gears turn in my head?
it gets flatter. This has been a preview of our upcoming Patreon series. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Where Diaz and I yell at each other.
I'm not yelling.
yet.
I'm just confused.
Is that going to be the excuse now? It's like, I'm not yelling. I'm just confused.
I'm one of those,
I think that's our episode title.
I'm not yelling. I'm just confused. I like it.
I love it.
That could be our mini episodes.
I have to write this down, or I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah. Whoever edits it, just be sure to make it that. But yeah.
So the last new thing we wanted to talk about this week, where Vox has 2 new amps that they announced at Summer NAMM this year. Chris, why don't you share with us about this?
Let me pull it back up. I know one of them is the new Vox AC30S1, which is the single channel, single speaker version of the classic amp, if you want to call it that.
and then they have the Super Beetle.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute, though.
Well,
I mean, the thing about the AC...
Pardon the heck out of me, sir. I apologize.
damn.
I'm not yelling.
I'm not yelling.
I'm not yelling. I'm just confused.
Okay, but I did want to talk about this one for a minute, which is why I was like slowing it down. But
Chris is a Vox guy.
yeah, really. Sadly, it is the top boost. I know I'll probably get a little flack for that because a lot of people are probably like, "Oh, but that's what makes the AC30. The AC30 is the top boost channel." But like even the Edge, he uses the normal channel. So
Oh well, if it's good enough for
get
the
with
Edge,
it. Yeah.
it's good enough.
So
for the
we won't be
Excellent.
seeing him playing this. But really, and I think Scott had the weight of it, and I think you said it was 10 pounds lighter than the standard AC30.
Yeah, just about. It's a smaller cabinet too.
Yeah, so smaller form, lighter weight. Price comes in about 800, I think.
Yep.
I could be totally wrong.
not
Let
bad.
me.
How many watts is it?
Still 30.
Oh,
Okay, maybe more
And
like
also,
$900.
30 watts running into 2 speakers versus 30 watts running into 1 speaker is the same loudness if it's the same brand speaker or same model speaker.
And
so
it still
won't be any
has the
quieter.
external out, so if you're like if you just want that extra air pushed, you can get another cab to put this thing through. Which is
So
probably
you're
what I
telling
would
me,
do with it.
Scott, you're telling me if you're running a 20 watt head into one slush and greenback, and you don't change anything, and then you run it into a 4x12, it's the same loudness.
Yes.
As long as they're all slush and greenbacks.
Sort of. With a tube amp, so that would be tricky just because it getting impedances matching, so you're not like blowing up the transformer on a tube amp.
Okay.
And then on a lot of the modern class D amplifiers, like for example, the Vox Beetle that we're going to talk about in a minute, you'll see different wattage ratings for different impedances.
Okay.
But in theory, if you run a 30 watt amp into one speaker versus running a 30 watt amp into 2 speakers, it will be the same loudness because you're now running 15 watts into both of the speakers in the
Okay.
dual section.
So why do people use 4x12s anyways then?
The way the cabinet resonates and some of those kind of things, but also just because
It looks bigger.
you were running 100 watts and you didn't have 100 watt speakers back then.
Okay.
They would blow up if you ran 100 watts into them. You could only run 30, and so you just ran 4 of them
Okay.
to be able to take that much wattage.
All right. Thank you, Scott. I'm not yelling. I was just confused.
All right, the Super Beetle. What is this modeled after exactly? I couldn't find anything.
I thought it was sort of like an AC50 voicing.
Possibly
Kind of doing it's the main goal is to make you sound like
the Beatles.
Beatles. Which
Yeah.
honestly, if you've ever listened to some of the guitar parts in the Beatles, I don't know why you'd want to. Listen,
I
hold
mean,
on. I'm gonna explain
The
something.
most famous Beatles guitar tone I know about is plugging directly into a
Yeah,
MIDI
that's
console
exactly
and
what I was
blasting
going
it
to say.
out.
Yeah, so like Revolution
Yep.
is a prime example. There's a whole lot of I don't know. I mean, they used Voxes on tour, so you can watch a lot of the old stuff around Please Please Me stuff, and they ran Vox amps. That was kind of their thing, but when it comes to like when you think of the Beatles tone, number one, I'm gonna explain. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I love the Beatles. My son's name is Jude. Like I named him after the damn song. So you've got actually he was going to be named Julian, but my wife wouldn't let me do that, which is John Lennon's son's name. So we settled on Jude because if you didn't know, that song was actually written for Julian, and it was actually Hey Jules. That was his nickname, and he changed it to Jude when they released it. So, little Beatles fact for you. But they, I don't know why you'd want to sound like them. They've got, there's a lot of stuff that sounds pretty good, but the Beatles were known for their songwriting and their harmonies, not so much their guitar tone.
I mean, I definitely know there are people that want those tones. I mean, there's a reason why there's so many of those like violin basses still sell. And they don't sound good.
That's purely aesthetics. That's a visual thing.
But there's people who want that, and there's so many Beatles cover bands and stuff like that where people are trying to just nail those tones.
But these amps are tiny.
30 watts is or something like that.
I'm talking about visually.
Oh yeah, these
Yeah.
things are like small.
these things they look like, you know, the little tiny Marshall coolers.
Yeah.
That's
But
what they
smaller.
look like.
Yeah, but also remember, most of the Beatles fans are how old now?
I mean, they didn't get smaller though.
Okay.
I'm talking.
It's not fully how the body works, but
I mean, actually, well, some people get shorter when they get older, but that's from
That's true.
bad posture. So,
Most people actually get shorter as they get older.
I used to have to buy 32 length jeans, and I just went and bought 30 length. So, I'm getting shorter too.
I should talk my my chiropractor into putting one of those signs up at his front door so I can measure myself going in and out
every
after I get
time.
my back adjusted.
Just check your grocery
Yes.
store.
This has been your health minute with the FX Loop.
If you feel shorter, you'll see your chiropractor. He's going to pull one of those things up, so you
Basically.
can see how tall you are.
So going back to this Vox amp, I think this is pointed at the Beatles nostalgia people who
Oh, definitely.
like this would look nice in your living room.
I mean, that's the only reason I want it is because it
So-
looks cool.
So it's new tube technology, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So 30-watt new tube, is that the same as? Would that be the same as like a 30-watt tube or 30-watt solid state?
It technically the amplifier stage is solid state on these.
Okay.
It's the new tubes in the preamp.
Okay. So I would say it's probably not going to be a super loud amp.
No, it's a 10-inch
50
speaker.
watts.
50-watt speaker. It's a single
It
speaker.
depends. It just depends on what the sensitivity of that speaker is, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it seems like a really cool thing, though. I love the look of it because
Yeah.
it does have the old Vox look. One of my favorite things, I love the old Vox where they had like the metal railings outside. Like I thought that was like that's the classy Vox look. I like that. I wish they'd bring that back a little bit more. So
And this is pretty affordable, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I had it pulled up.
very affordable.
I love it. He's not
Yeah.
even gonna say what the price is. He's just like, "Yep, affordable."
$330 everywhere.
Wait, what?
What?
330.
No, no
Yeah.
way.
it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna look like an idiot because I might buy one now.
Go buy it.
I'm not doing it on air like some people do, Scott.
Is that just the head, or is that everything included in that
I'm
330?
looking at the Sweetwater. Let me double check.
It's loading.
Is it on Sweetwater?
Yeah, it's
right now?
everything.
Hold on.
Are you gonna flex more of your AMS credit there, Diaz?
It's not credit. They just send me stuff and charge me every month. I like American Musical. That's how I bought my Cower or my what is it, DRS rack. So I am gonna see how much it
Yeah,
is.
it looks like it. Yeah, it's the amp and speaker together, 330 street price. So that's cheap.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know what? I'm gonna
you got-
start doing demo videos, and you're gonna see it like sitting in there.
Is that going to be your
Yeah.
demo amp?
Yeah, sell your
No.
Katana and get that.
No, it's not on American Musical yet. All right, but let's Scott. Why don't you direct us into our topic?
Wow, great segue.
Just throwing you under the bus there. So if no one's caught on, this is episode 19, and Scott finally did the intro. So every episode we like argue over who's going to be in charge. Like no one wants to do it. Who's going to be like running the episode?
And if we can get 500 likes, Marissa will lead the
Oh
episode.
my god! Listen, if we get 200 subscribers to our YouTube, Marissa has to do the intro. 200 is not a lot, guys.
It's enough to get
Actually,
us our custom URL.
That's
Speaking
yep.
of likes on social media, this would be a good time to plug that we still have a Sinusoid contest running. It ends this Friday.
What, no, I don't think that's how calendars work.
No?
Wait, no.
This
it doesn't.
episode
It
airs
ends
the
in 2 days.
18th, Diaz.
All right, so the Sinusoid giveaway ends in 2 days. So
Get on
check
that.
that out. Yeah, because that's how calendars work. It is too late for us to be doing episodes. We're not allowed to do them this late anymore. It's
No.
kinda like listening
No.
to 60 Cycle Hum when they get trashed, but we're just getting dumb. the later it gets, the dumber we get.
Yeah, I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in like 11 hours. So,
Wait, what?
Wait,
time were
what?
you drinking today?
I went to brunch.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you had brunch, you can have a mimosa. It's totally fine to day drink with mimosas.
It was a Bloody Mary. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Same
Listen,
thing.
At NAM, every morning I woke up and drank a beer first thing. I was just like,
And ate leftovers on top of that.
yeah, I was just like, I'm on vacation. I don't give a flying fudgesicle. So, but they go check out the Instagram. Please follow the rules, because I'm sure that there's still going to be more people who like the picture and do all this, but you have to repost it with the hashtag, and you have to follow us and Sinusoid on Instagram. So go do that.
Honestly, I'm going to not really check if you follow Sinusoid on Instagram, so you can get away with not doing that.
Scott,
But
Because they have a
shut
lot.
the-
You're probably
I
already
mean-
following Sinusoid anyway, so.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's probably it. They've already got like half of everyone. They need to share. Albert,
Sure.
no,
Anthony, give us some of your followers. All the cool kids are doing it.
I don't think that's how social media works.
It's kind of how it works.
Kinda, yeah.
It is actually. It is. If we could get them to post it, we'd get like 100 followers automatically, because that's just how things work. We're riding on the coattails of big guys, so it's just what we do.
It's like it's a company making good with a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which brings us to our topic.
Making good.
Nailed it.
5 out of 7.
Okay.
I hope I'm editing this episode.
Go. Go.
You can have that because I'm out of town at this point.
All right. So we wanted to talk a little bit this week about. There's been a number of articles and events that seem to happen with like a company ticking off their fan base or their customer base or having a controversy and then having to recover.
Yeah. So we actually started talking about this in the pre-app. I was in the middle of a drive-through, getting a burger, and I was like, man, I forgot how we got onto it. But we were talking about like companies that just are not able to recover from mess ups. Most recent and common is Gear Supply. They had an amazing customer base. I was a part of it. I think everyone here at some point bought something from Gear Supply,
Yep.
and they went and screwed it all up. Screwed over their customers, screwed over their employees, and there's no way to recover that brand. I think we can all kind of agree on that. But there's a few brands that have been able to sidestep the shit show and make it happen.
And
Vertex,
actually, as you bring up Gear Supply Company, I realized I have a Gear Supply Company strap locks thing velcroed to my mini board that I keep my picks in.
yeah.
And I am putting a Jamie Davis approved sticker over the Gear Supply logo as we speak.
That's what I want to see. That'll make me happy. So if you contact Jamie Davis at jamiedavis@theeffectsloop.com, he will get you out some stickers to replace that. Honestly, if we could make that where people could email that'd be awesome. But I think we'd have to buy the URL.
Yeah, we would have to.
Yes,
buy
we
it.
do.
Did we buy it?
I think.
know-
I think we own it. We just have to buy the Google G Suite for custom emails, which is
So anytime you're setting up for a mailing list, make sure to attach Jamie at Davis at theeffectsloop.com
At the
As-
.com.
at the
at the .com. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm way too tired for this. But
So
yeah.
we talked a little bit about like there's been instances where companies made restitution to the harmed parties, a la the Vertex Wah scandal.
Yeah, so if you don't know about the Vertex Wah scandal, Vertex was buying Benoit from
BBE.
BBE. Keep your mind out of the gutter, guys. But they were rebranding them. They said that they were changing a few things in them, and they were just rebadging them and selling them for what was about 4 times or 2 times as much as BBE was selling the Benoit for.
Yeah, and that's hardly the only example of a company buying a pedal and repackaging it and sending it. I think is it the Freakish Blues is a classic example of someone buying. Was it them buying Joyo pedals and repackaging them?
Yeah, there was some people doing that, and then there's just quite a bit. There's a guitar company. If someone wants to say the brand name, they can.
Nah.
I have a picture of Diaz playing one.
There's a video of me playing one.
Yep.
They were sanding off the Squire logo off guitars. And
Allegedly.
No, there's a damn picture.
Is that one owned up to at this point?
No, they're not going to own up to it. They're still trying to sidestep it. See, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Black 35 Guitars. I don't even care anymore. He's not going to listen. So Black 35 Guitars posted a picture to one of their own social medias there was a picture posted that has the Black 35 logo on a guitar, and you can see right next to it the Squire logo is barely even sanded off. And you see that they have guitars, and why do you have a relic mark right where a logo goes? No one relics a guitar right there. You're covering something up. Another person just posted that they had a DG 335 style guitar. That's the Dave Grohl, Trini Lopez style. It's got the diamond F holes, and it looks like a Gibson. And they reliced it, and it was a horrible relic. Looked like crap. And they're still making money selling guitars. I guess they're making money because they're trying to hire someone right now, but that's a brand that hasn't owned up to their mistakes. They try to sidestep it, and it's costing them business. So
there's ones like that deny it and kind of keep going, and then there's the Vertex example that
Vertex
a lot of
denied
people
it at
like
first, though.
Yeah, I came upon this story late, so
The Gear page, 300 pages of it.
yeah. Rivaled only by the TMG scandal.
Yep.
Only by the TMG scandal, which that's not included in this. But if you are really bored, search TMG on the Gear page, and spend most of your vacation reading it.
Yeah.
Take a vacation to read it.
Huh?
Take a vacation to read it.
Yeah. And then take a day afterwards to be mad, and then
Call
be
your
over it.
therapist.
Yeah, just talk
Basically.
it out with someone. So Vertex did really good about making it right, though. They made financial restitution to people who have bought them or offered them another product. I believe they did credit, or they refunded. And those people also, I believe, got to keep their pedals, which is kind of cool. I mean, the thing was it's a good sounding wah pedal. It really was, because BBE makes good products. But they actually still have the list on their website, people they made financial restitution to. So they're better than ever in financially. They're putting out more products, and a lot of people have forgiven them, which is hard to do. So and that's like Gibson. This year we talked a lot about Gibson in 2019 line. They treated us right and showing us around the factory and everything. You got to see all this stuff, and we talked about that on our 2 episodes ago. But they also have listened to the consumer, and they're trying to make things right where customers were upset.
Yep.
The RoboTuners, prime example. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Is they sent people to every store that sold Gibsons and removed them.
Yep.
What the
They
heck
were
was that noise? I'm gonna point that out. Y'all want to talk about my cat? What was that noise? Anyone
What
gonna own up
noise?
to it?
Yeah. What noise?
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna listen back. 41:35. That's the timestamp. So right about there. A little bit, probably about a minute or two before.
You do that.
I'm not yelling. I'm just confused.
I'm just confused. I'm gonna start using that with my wife. She's gonna stop yelling. I'm like, I'm not yelling. I'm just confused. That actually would.
That might
Actually,
help.
probably would make sense. Yeah. Dang, I just solved. You know what? Thank you guys. I solved any little woes I've had.
Diaz will be a marriage counselor by the end of the week.
Yeah. No. Listen, man. He's not yelling. He's just confused.
Anyway,
So I kind of want to ask the question about like, what does a company need to do to make good on sort of a past misstep? But I think that's kind of a varying answer based on what happened.
yeah.
It's based on what happened, and it's based on their, I'd say, their stance in the musical community. Gibson's a big one. Like Gibson's, it's a pillar of the guitar community.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of the things Gibson did, which I was actually most surprised by, or I think is kind of the biggest about face they've really done, was they've also increased their transparency.
Yeah.
yeah, they talked about doing more tours too, and that was pretty cool. They've really made a lot of steps towards like their hats. I support the new Gibson. It's
I'm going to put mine on.
Huh?
I just put mine on.
Yeah. Make Gibson great again.
Nope.
No, there's actually hats out that say that, by the way.
No,
Don't nope.
they're not real. I photoshopped that and put it around.
No, you didn't. Stop.
I did do that, yes.
No, you didn't.
Stop being in
I
denial.
made a fake copy of that hat, and I shared it in the 60 Cycle Hum group. That did
People have
happen.
made them, though.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
So you need to get some financial restitution from whoever stole your idea.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's
that company needs to make good with me.
intellectual property right there. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that was not an original idea that I
No
had.
one's ever thought about making anything great again.
Ever.
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 But,
But yeah, let's get off this topic. Oh my gosh.
yeah, Gibson's definitely one of those good ones that, you know, like we said, they are making changes, lowering some prices, and bringing new stuff out. Because, like, one of my big things was, like, them changing their necks on a lot of stuff back in
Yeah.
2014. I played some of the new 2019 stuff. They feel a whole lot better, and everything's, you know, doesn't feel the same like it did.
Yeah, and some of the cool stuff that Gibson's doing is they're not making everything standard. So some models have certain things, like the HP, the high performance line, has a lot of the new stuff that people are all about. The Zero.
I think they pulled enough back on the HP line, though, to make them more what people want. They don't want every bell and whistle. They just want some of them.
Those HPs have a lot of bells and whistles.
They do, but they don't have, like, that crazy 0 fret thing that they
Yes,
were
they do.
doing before. They do?
Yeah.
Oh. I'll shut up then.
They still have 0 fret. They still have push pull on every knob.
Which is something I'd want.
Yeah. And then the one thing that Al John, if you happen to listen, the one thing I just about made me like puke in my mouth a little bit was seeing the change of the SG strap button on the HP. They moved it up to the top horn,
As God intended
but
it.
it's no,
No.
that's not the way God intended it.
Stop.
Don't even try that, Chris. That's not even a joke.
I mean, you can finally use strap locks properly on it without, like,
No.
poking
Yeah.
you in the gut.
No,
It's the
if
same
you
with,
play an
like,
SG,
Double Cut
you've
Juniors.
accepted- No, stop. That's not okay. They should never have done that. That's blasphemy.
Did we finally find Diaz's button on a guitar?
I was going to say that at the
think
beginning of
so.
the episode that his defensive thing was going to be SGs, but
Okay, I can handle things changing on SG,
it's
but the strap button placement of it, it's
was it like
not symmetrical.
was it on the
It's not
tip
even-
of the top horn?
No, it's on the back, but up towards the top horn.
Oh,
So it's just goofy looking.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's still rear facing then,
Oh.
right?
It's still rear facing.
So we take all that back
Ow.
then.
Yeah, it's not.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome back to my side of the argument. I'm not yelling. I'm just confused of why you guys were defending it. It was that's honestly the only thing I have to say bad about it. But it was kind of crazy. But back to our topic, because we're not staying on topic. I think that
Man, we should have Diaz as just a contributor more often.
Yeah.
we've got to. Whenever you've got to look at a company that's saving face or changing, I think it's also what they've done to the customer. If they're straight out bold-faced lying to their consumer, then it's really tough for them to go back from that. If they've been choicey about their words, then that's one thing. So one thing about Gear Supply that's come out is, everyone kind of knew Gear Supply's not making their own strings. Apparently they're cutting out the middleman, but they were the middleman the whole time. I know.
Shocker.
Cole Duke,
I think that's trademarked by another podcast.
well, they make fun of it all the time. But like their vintage moderns were made by Cleartone and stuff like that. And like if that came out, they could have saved that, because that they weren't lying. They never once said we make our own strings. They were just very choice about the words they said. Mm-hmm. And they never said, oh yeah, Cleartone makes our strings. They would say, oh, we have someone who makes the strings for us, which Cleartone was making the strings and branding them for them. That's the truth. But they're not saying, oh, you could buy the same set of strings for half the price if you just pay for Cleartones. That's something that you can bounce back from, is being not lying, but omitting parts of the truth and being careful how you say things. Now, if you're straight
Isn't that just marketing?
Yeah, that's just marketing. That's the entire game of marketing.
Is being very selective with how you say things and what you say, because if you give away how you're making profit in a middleman scenario, it's easily you can get cut out of the situation.
Yeah, it's like Burger King. I'm not out in the back slaughtering a cow every day. I mean, we have someone bring us our food and all this, and that's like some of our products that we sell as limited time offers and stuff like that. You can buy some of the same stuff in your grocery store. I mean, there's certain things that you can do that with, but because we're cooking it in a Burger King, people think that it's special to us, that you can't find it anywhere else. So, I mean, I think that's kind of the drawing line in mine, is that, and if you're stealing from your customers in the sense of like a failed Kickstarter, Devi Ever had that problem. Devi Ever did a Kickstarter, and I believe it was funded, and nothing ever came from it.
Yeah, it was like the cartridge-based fuzz or something like that.
Yeah, and then she came out and was like, "Oh, I screwed up." I think she sold something off to someone, and then tried to start again, and it flopped.
Oh, she sold the company, her first company, Dwarfcraft.
Yeah, and then that was the Devi Ever effects, right?
I thought it was Fuzz Goddess was the first one.
Maybe it was, and then the second one was Devi Ever effects.
Yeah.
And then was there a third one after the cartridge fail?
I mean, there still are Devi Ever pedals being made right now.
Yeah, but just not at the level that they were being made.
Yeah, I can't remember, was it Fuzz Goddess or Devi Ever was the one that got sold to Dwarfcraft, though?
I thought it was Devi Ever, because that was the big one.
Yeah, I think I remember one of the rants was about like how, like I can't produce pedals under my own name or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure on that. I'm sure Adam Delhanic might listen, and he's pretty knowledgeable about stuff. I think he's knowledgeable about stuff going on there. I could be wrong, but it's stuff like that. Whenever you completely steal from your customers, you break that trust. A lot of people don't realize how much trust you have with a company. I mean, Boss, I trust the Boss pedal to withstand every sort of beating it can take. I mean, and you've
If they
got
sold you a lemon, you expect a warranty to be there to like take care of it.
yeah, and I'm sure they would. They'll probably be like, go to your nearest Guitar Center and just throw it at them, and they'll give you another one.
Well, especially since I now have Matt Knight's email address, I can bug him.
Matt Knight, if you happen to listen to this, that just makes me feel good that you're listening to this.
And I now want a lemon in a box, please.
Yeah, can you make a lemon
Like
boss pedal?
like literally lemon.
And it just
Yeah.
sweetens everything, but it can get tart if you add too much.
Yes.
Does anyone put anything in lemon to sweeten it up? What type of northern thing is that?
Ask Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
What are you talking about? What does Chick-fil-A put lemon
Lemonade?
in to make it sweet?
lemonade.
The sugar in lemonade is what makes it sweet.
You just
Do you guys not know how
you just
things
asked
work?
what do you put in lemon to make it sweet.
No, what in lemonade? I'm tired. Back off.
I'm not yelling.
I don't even want to talk to you guys anymore. We're ending an episode now.
Okay, bye.
Sleep on DS.
Aw.
Yeah, so I mean,
We still love you.
there's a number of companies that like overstep that line to the point of no return. There's definitely a lot of the rip-offs or like the people who are like buying guitars off Alibaba and branding them as their own. The LE guitar fiasco that happened last year.
Were those AliExpress guitars?
I don't even know what the story with those were.
That was
I
ridiculous.
never saw a resolution on any of it.
I don't think anything did happen, but that's a whole nother discussion of people getting screwed.
Yeah, but then you have situations like what happened with TMG where another owner comes in and salvages the brand.
Same with
Yeah.
nose pedals.
Nose
Yeah.
pedals. Cody, if Cody Fields, who we got to interview, he owns Westminster Effects, and then he bought Nose Pedal. Because Chris got screwed over pretty well by Nose there for a minute, didn't you?
See, I don't know if it was just them dragging their feet, like getting stuff done, or if he was getting behind or whatever.
Okay.
I'm not trying to like fully throw him under the bus, but it's just like
No. Let's drive that bus.
Yeah, but when emails aren't getting replied to about like getting updates,
For
and
8 months.
it was not 8 months.
It was.
Was it?
Yes.
I don't know. It was however long it was, and then you request the PayPal return, then you finally start getting emails. That's the issue.
I mean, you tug at somebody's wallet, they suddenly respond. I mean, that sometimes is just what you have to do.
Yeah, but it's kind of a tough situation with those companies because you're just like a lot of the smaller companies. You're like, man, I really want to give you the benefit of the doubt. It's like,
But then you have like
and
small
then-
companies like Dan Burgess that keeps their stuff coming. Mm-hmm. So it's not
what do you mean?
like I've never had an issue with him. So like whenever I see anybody
do.
like okay. I usually try to stick up for him because I've never had any issues.
So okay,
I know he was having a rough spot last year and had to sell off some stuff to make bills. and-
Okay, so Dan, great guy, love the guy. I've bought a Pearl from him. I've bought Fave switches. I've bought a bit. So do you guys remember when I had the rehoused pitchfork?
Oh yeah.
So I had a rehoused pitchfork that had two presets, or I had you could switch between two presets. That took forever for me to get. It was one of those stories where luckily I never got to the point where there was no response back. But the problem with some of these small builders are they give you a it's going to be this long.
Yeah.
They give you a build time. Yeah, like when you talk to the guy and you're like, "Hey, could you do this?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, it'll probably take me like a month because I haven't done one of those in a while and all that. And then like 7 months later, you finally get a message after you like checking in. You're just like, "Hey, I'm not upset." Like it's sad that nowadays you have to start emails with, "Hey, I'm not upset.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if what's going on." "Oh yeah, no, I've got to do this. I'm gonna work on it next week." And then a couple months later, you're just like, and then after a while, and finally you get a message that says, "Hey, I saw it's your birthday. I guess I'll do that pedal for you." And it's like,
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah, so that actually happened, and I get it. Like I wasn't mad about it. I was, you get slightly annoyed,
Yeah.
but I really wasn't upset. And he did a great job. He did what I wanted.
Yeah. See, that's
made it
another good
happen.
thing is like when they do finally get it out, it's not like looked like they got it done in 5 minutes.
I think the problem is a lot of these small builders are afraid if they give a long lead time, you're not going to do it. But I mean, which it's kind of true, kind of not. It's more of being transparent and open and honest and being like, hey, listen, I don't do those. I build pearls in batches and that's how I make all my money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, yeah, dude, that's fine. You worry about paying your bills and just get to that whenever you get to it. But if it would have been one of those like, I really need this soon thing,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been great.
Oh yeah.
So
It's interesting. Brian Wampler started doing mods again,
why?
and just because he missed it, like he just wanted to.
Well, that's okay. That's a good answer.
And his whole explanation is like, yeah, I'll take yours on as long as you're okay with like. By the way, this is what I'm going to be doing on a Saturday afternoon when I feel like it. I'm only going to take a few on. Like he didn't make it on his website or anything. Mm-hmm. Like that was a good way to take on the one-off projects. I
Yeah,
think.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, the thing is you've got these. I think one-off stuff. There's two
Takes time.
types of people. There's like the people who don't understand that you're not doing your normal routine, so you're not building. And you build these people build pedals in batches. You look at Keeley's a prime example. I mean, they put out more pedals than probably anyone, but besides like Boss or. But for like the boutique line,
Right.
you see them. They're working on like 12 of the same pedal at the same time.
Yeah.
But if you're doing one-off, you have to stop making those 12 pedals. You've got to engineer this mod if you haven't done it before or in a while. You've got to do drilling on an enclosure that you normally don't do, and you got to do all this. And it's like you just got to be honest and open about it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like you saw, was it JHS stopped doing mods?
Yeah,
It just wasn't worth it for them anymore.
No, they're put out 1,000 bonsais or mod someone's tube screamer. Like, which one are you going to do? Go where the money's at. You're in a business. You're not UNICEF. You're not out to make everyone feel good and do stuff for cheap all the time. Make your money. You're running a business. Pay your employees a good wage. So, I mean, the problem is a lot of these boutique builders and stuff like that are dealing with people in the praise and worship realm and these other realms where it's like cheap people who want free stuff all the time, and they have to deal with that. They have to tell people no,
Yep.
Yeah.
which they should. I support people who tell people no.
Well, with that, I think we've wrapped up our thoughts pretty well.
Pretty much.
We're not even talking about the topic anymore.
Yeah. We went back to like last episode's topic.
Yeah.
Well,
we
so-
actually. Oh, go ahead,
So
Scott.
thanks everybody for joining us. You can find us on Instagram at The Effects Loop. We still have that Instagram contest going on till Friday, so make sure to get in on that for a free sinusoid cable or your chance to win a free sinusoid cable.
Woo.
Join our Facebook group over at facebook.com/groups/The Effects Loop. Continue this discussion. Tell us about, what companies have done to actually make their reputations better or made good on a past mistake. Email all complaints at theeffectsloop@gmail.com.
Well,
Diaz gets all those on his
Yeah,
phone,
we'll let him
so he'll
handle
read
those.
them all immediately.
Actually, I am logged into that now, so now I actually can see them. So,
We also have our YouTube channel where you can find all of our NAMM content and our new episodes, and we'll also have some other content coming here soon.
if we get 200 subscribers, Marissa will do the
Yep.
intro and outro.
which
for the episode.
hopefully we've hit that by this time that you're hearing this.
Yeah, do your part. Let people know.
if you tell two friends,
And then they tell two friends.
Wait, so how is this not a pyramid scheme?
Because it's an upside down triangle. That's how it's not a pyramid scheme. Duh.
Flips it over. All right, and that was our recreation of another The Office episode.
also, start listening to season 1 of West Wing. Episode 25 is coming.
Listening to it?
Watching it, YouTubing it, whatever means you need to find it. Watch
Nice,
it.
nice
It's good.
recovery there, Scott. Better than mine.
Sponsors also.
shaky.
Or sponsor.
Oh,
And also, finally check out our sponsor, Stringjoy, for some custom string sets as well as standard string lines with balanced tension. Check them out; they're amazing.
Yeah, we really do like their
If
stuff.
you see Scott, give him a hug. He's amazing.
hey, if you do order and they have special instructions, tell them that the FX Loop sent you. Help us out.
Yeah,
let them know
let 'em
that
know.
they're you heard about them from us.
Or that you're finally pulling the
just put,
trigger
like-
because of us.
Yeah, be
Yes.
like Diaz is sexy from the FX Loop. Put it on there.
Don't lie to me.
Scott hugged me longer than he hugged you.
Ooh.
I timed
Oh,
it.
yikes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you're so insecure about your relationship with Scott that you need to time social
Listen, I'm
interactions like
emailing him
that.
right now.
Hey, which Scott are we talking about at
Okay.
this point?
I'm so confused.
All right.
not
Well,
yelling.
thanks for joining us. I've been Scott.
I've been Chris.
I've been Diaz.
And we broke Marissa.
And we broke Marissa. Thanks for joining us all.
Have a good night.
Let's see y'all.
Bye.